He likes big black thick things in front of his mouth. Like that is.
I love it. You can't do that?
This is awful. This is truly awful. The sugar-coated asshole kiss. This is terrible. Terrible
All right.
stuff.
Welcome to Bonanza. Would you like to sit in the smoking or chain smoking side? This is the part of the podcast where I realize I'm too young for all this conversation, so I just listen. I am so hungry right now. It's the microphone.
The mic's getting you excited.
So, Bowe, you want to close the show since you have the big microphone? Yeah, I called you out on it because you're just too intimate with me.
Nasty.
Hi, I'm Dan Falcone. This is Referee Roulette. Coach Matt is with us again. And we have Eric Bowe back with us.
Bowe.
Live with the big microphone because he loves that thing.
I love it. It's like a...
Big, there's so many different things I could have just shot off.
Do it.
Do we have the buffer? Do we have the buffer yet?
You can say anything.
Do we have the
you
buffer
want.
yet? He likes big black thick things in front of his mouth. Like that is probably for after dark.
That's our first edit of the episode.
So kids, no.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, oh, dude, can you imagine? See, he doesn't do the girls' side of basketball. Otherwise, you could throw that. Hey, Bowe.
You know, it just made me kind of think of is back during the nasty COVID pandemic. When you guys
said, I like it.
When you guys had to wear the mask, and that one, I don't know who he was. The one officially, he basically had the cock sock as a mask.
Let's not mention any
We're gonna
names.
stop going forward. We got in trouble for that one.
Yeah, we got in trouble.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he got upset, and it's like we didn't mean to, but it was that like I had to wear one too. If I had to look back, I probably edited them or I probably like erased them because I couldn't believe it. But I had to wear one that was similar to that. Janice gave it to me, and it was like, okay, well, I wore it, but you know what? I never had it over my mouth. I had it like I looked like a freaking bird.
It was disturbing. It was disturbing. And at a girls' basketball game, it was twice as disturbing. I'm just saying. Now we can move forward.
Well,
it was bad. Like no other referee. And I don't know who, but no other referee had that. Everyone else had a mask. They had the whistle. It was a little snug, whatever. That thing looked exactly like what I said it was.
Well, coincidentally, while there was an uptick in mask usage, there was a decline in the amount of G-strings available at Chippendales the same season.
He probably had 12 in his bag. I mean,
wait a minute, hold on. Where's your beer?
That if you want to call it that,
no, we have to do this. We have to do this. So this is Coach Matt drinking sugar-coated pony kisses. I want you to see the face he's going to make when he sips on it. Go ahead.
This is Coach Matt holding this. This will be the only sip I take. Oh my! This is ass.
It kisses the lips
like an ass.
You can't do that.
This is awful. This is truly awful.
And
I hope they're never a sponsor. The sugar-coated asshole kiss. This is terrible. Terrible
right.
stuff.
On the next brewery.
Or we'll have to do the ass snaps with these.
Oh, it's terrible stuff.
No, what's funny is
I'd rather do a shot straight of like Yukon Jack, Wild than drink that again.
No, what's funny though is the fact that when we were together last time, we're drinking bourbon,
stateside vodka,
whatever, all this stuff, and you're saying like that's tough.
Well, wait,
that's nasty.
That's nasty. That really is. I mean, again, disclosure, whatever. I'm not a huge beer drinker, especially. That's not like a regular beer. It's not.
No. That's closer.
Yeah.
I'm
just not. I'm not a dark like a lager beer drinker. I really don't do that. Tears up my guts.
It's an IPA.
An IPA. See, I'm not an IPA guy again because I don't like the taste.
It's brewed with lactose.
It's what?
Brewed with lactose.
I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm not an IPA guy, and I don't like lagers. Part of it is
wait a minute. I'll throw
the diverticulitis.
So I'm going with the Sterling Pig Big Guns Double IPA. Sterling Pig is a fine item.
And I will be going with the Phoenixville Tap Water,
which does have a slight alcohol content in it.
This is true.
I'll probably get more buzz than your IPAs. Crazy.
We were gonna talk about like Sixers and maybe the draft or something like that today, but I wanted to ask you before we get started.
Yep.
Because I mentioned to him the Federation, NFHS, just passed. They're picking up, and I don't know how the PIW is going to adopt it yet, but flopping is now going to be punishable.
Awesome.
And specifically mentioned in the article was the head fake thing,
Mhm.
like you get a hand on, you get the head fake, and it sounds like there's going to be like a warning first, and then it's a team technical. I'll have to get the article and we'll bring
Wait a
it.
minute. I want more detail on this, right? Not so much about the rule. Let's talk about that. These people that do this faking stuff, like they're just throwing themselves on the ground. Like you've seen it.
Right.
I mean, it's egregious. You don't teach your girls how to do that. I know that.
Absolutely not.
No, but it happens. But you see it, and that's what's so hard. It's comical, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. Actually, I want to see you do one. I want you to do a flop right now.
Like the head fake thing.
Push the mic away.
Yeah. So I was all excited to be sitting in this chair today because I was going to have the mic, and now I'm regretting the decision completely.
He's all over that mic. He's
So-
all over, and he was begging for it too.
Boom.
Begging for the mic.
The other one, the other rule
Beyond the flop.
No, I mean, so the flop's one, but like it's like, so for me, and I see it more in AAU than anything else, is like you get like a hand on, and then they do the head thing. It's like there's never in my life playing any sport ever, even two-hand touch football with my friends in the. Remember when we used to play two-hand touch football before like everything was organized?
Yep.
I would never have my
I
head
remember
fling.
that because we probably originated that back in my
Right.
era.
I would never fling my head back
Right.
when someone pushed me from the opposite side. Like it doesn't work that way. It's not even like physics is out of the equation in that situation.
We're going physics again? Listen, when we break into this stuff, because he's a scientist, biology.
I'm not a
major,
scientist.
Okay,
I graduated
no,
with a degree in science. It doesn't
but
mean
you're
I'm a
not
scientist.
a scientist.
No.
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 All right. So here, how about this? So like girls,
Yes.
the girls' end of basketball. This is hard. It's almost like watching the NBA back in the 70s. Everybody had big hair, afros, ponytail, all that kind of stuff, right? So what happens is when you're doing the girl side of things, and they're not trying to do it, but somebody that they'll get bumped into, and the ponytails start flying,
Mhm.
and everything looks 10 times worse, and you're kind of like, no, that's not a foul. It was just incidental contact. I mean, that's accurate, isn't it?
To an extent, it all depends. I think it's a good thing that they're putting it in there because it gives coaches or teams that do exaggerate that type of action. It makes them maybe have to think twice before they do it because it could penalize them. I don't think you see too much flopping in the sense of flopping in the girls' game. I do think you see the hand check and they act like it's really pushing them from the basket. I think you're going to see that probably more enforced on the boys' side than anything else, less than the girls.
Well, then to sort of couple it, because something I see on the girls' side more, and I don't know if this rule is going to translate, but it was specifically mentioned. The other thing they're picking up is when a player throws the ball away from an official, or just like how like you'll be there and they'll just drop the ball. They're allowing for delay of game penalties on that now. It seems like they're trying to find something to do with that.
What do we get? What are we giving them?
Well, now they're making it. Now what they're doing is, if the player has the ball at their disposal and you're right there, we want to keep the game moving. Why toss the ball away?
So doesn't
it end up being a tech?
It's a technical foul.
Well, if
not the first, though,
if it goes in the delay of game territory, the first thing is a warning.
And then a tech.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's.
But my from the limited number of games I've done for girls' side, which again is mostly AAU or like high school warm-up leagues, is baseline out of bounds, and the player will stand with their heels on the inbound line to make me bring them back to give their players more time to set up, or the fake shoe tie. I'm seeing that at such a high level.
They won't take the ball. They won't take the ball out of your hand. You're sitting there. You're like this. You got hand up and you're handing across the body, and they won't.
And he's smiling because he teaches it.
No, I don't. I'm smiling.
Yes, you do.
No. I absolutely do not. I'm smiling because that is a true pet peeve of mine. That officials don't put the ball down and they'll sit there and like.
You want? Wait, he wants us to.
I want you to put the ball down.
Like
once you reach your limit and you hit your whistle and they're lined up, it won't be mine because we don't do it. We snap on the inbound. Like I don't think we'll ever get that. But there are teams that manipulate that, and then the officials don't put the ball down. Like it's a point of emphasis at every circle before the game. To tuck the shirt, this, that, and the other. And one of the points of emphasis is get out of the timeout, get into the thing. Well, then when you don't put the ball down, and a lot of times, again, that's one of those pieces where you're trying to utilize it. We're out, we're ready. and the team is still drawing it up or doing something, no, put the ball down. They should have to run out and do their thing. You're like 6 seconds past the time you hit the second horn.
Have you in fact done that? Yelled at somebody over that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm like, put the ball down.
And listen, you know what? I don't mind that because you're right. See, I respect the fact, and we've talked about that when we were on before for 54 minutes. It's the fact that there are things that you know, and at least you take the time to know what the rules are and what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody's not doing it, then you have a good reason to complain. You have a good or express your concern or whatever you want to call it.
I'm not doing it right out of the gate, but when it happens, like third inbound, or it's like, come on now, you made it a point of emphasis. Let's stick to it.
That guy, Coach Mark, that we were talking about before, did he?
I don't think so. 'Cause again,
not Coach Mark, referee.
I don't remember if his name was Mark or not. I guess I should probably maybe go look in the book. But more than likely, another pet peeve of mine: visiting teams, refs never sign the book. So I don't get the card to know who it is, right? If you're at the home,
we'll say that. So you're saying you go to Norristown or you go to Pottsgrove, and they won't sign your book.
Correct. They don't. They come to the table. They'll sign
both books. There's the official book.
The only book they ever sign, again, so if I'm the visiting team, referee's names never go in my book unless you ask for it. And if you ask for it, it's like I'm asking them to spot me 20.
Wait a minute.
They give me such an attitude.
To do that?
No, we're not required
you're
to do
only
that.
required to do the home.
But why? But so here's what I experienced on the. I'm speaking from the guy's side.
He was a wealth of information when we were on the floor.
Yeah, so this is good for us. But when I've had this happen, definitely at Phoenixville, Pope John Paul, the visiting team's bookkeeper has spun their book around and said sign, and I just go, okay, because I've asked some coaches before, can you see your crews on Arbiter prior to the game? And the answer is no.
No.
More likely than not.
ADs you can get it from your AD. Even if I'm the visitor, if I went back and talked to my AD, he could probably get it for me, or he has that full scope of the whole league. But I never know who my visiting officials are.
But between the 10-minute signature point to make sure the book is accurate to the 5-minute captain meeting, it's enough time to spin one more book around and sign the.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But they don't usually, and a lot of times it's first names. And I'll be one again. Like I've called Tom on many occasions for a good reason. Like I don't just call him on like, hey, I don't ever want to see that guy again or her again. She's terrible. I'll call up and I'll say, hey, that young guy we had that did the game, I thought he was excellent. Like I'll tell Tom in a heartbeat because they used to give you those cards to evaluate at the end. You never get those.
No, you don't get them anymore.
So I have no problem, like especially because the officiating pool seems thin from the girls' side a lot. If you come across a new official that's pretty good, I like to point them out because you want to keep them involved.
Yeah, that's true.
That's good info.
Yeah,
because I feel like I want to do the best job I can, and I don't mind. Now there are some depending on the handwriting, you may not know what the name is anyway.
Exactly right.
Actually, you know the worst is when you jog across the gym and you're like, all right, you got 13, you got 11. You look at the book and you go, who's the U2? And then I can't remember how to spell their name. Because for us, a lot of times, I guess it's
true, especially if it's somebody with like an unusual last name.
Yes.
Yeah, that's tough. Or somebody you don't really know. I mean, how about it? How many times we go into Arbiter, like your app on your phone, because you don't know who you're working with that night? I mean, I hate when that happens because normally I'll like reach out ahead of time because I know everybody. But if it's somebody I don't know,
I like to know in advance, just for the sake.
Like to know because guys, what if it's somebody I don't know?
Yeah, or mechanics, everything's off. Yeah,
or if you're in charge of the game, you really want to know because you have to make sure that the game's on. You reach out to the athletic director. Hey, by the way,
and I am
from the game. And if you have any special anything you want them to be thinking about for your pregame, like that kind of, especially if guys you haven't worked with before.
And
right? You do that too.
I'm superstitious.
Are you sure that
with
microphone's in a good spot for you?
It's great
because it seems like it's really close. Like
I can get closer.
Oh boy. I'm very superstitious with my scorebook, so I like
your microphones.
And my
do you write in or do you have like a pre-printed?
I don't have the pre-printed. I generally write it in. We had a stretch this past season where I was a little sick during the week and stuff, and I didn't do it. I usually have my book ready way before the game, like the day before the game. My book wasn't filled in, and I asked my assistant to do it. We had a really great game.
Man.
And I was like, nah, all right, Cart, you got it. You're filling in. I just get superstitious that way. She filled in the book for like the rest of the year. And it was in my mind. It's like, hey, you got to go do the book. Go do the book. And my superstition part kicks in. It's like, nope, wait till you get there. Wait till you get there. So I get goofy with that sometimes. But from the book standpoint, I like it to be the way that I like it. Like, the referee's name's up top here. Your timeouts have to be here. You don't put, you X for your first person that goes in. You check beyond that. If I have somebody that's putting X's all over the place, and when I'm doing the book and I have to send it to the media, what is it? My ADD kicks in, or is it ADHD?
Whatever.
Obsessive compulsive
Obsessive,
disorder.
yeah, my OCD. My OCD kicks in.
We were having an OCD moment before you got here, because
you were having an OCD moment.
I was having an OCD moment before you got here because the chairs weren't like spaced appropriately, and it was bothering the absolute.
I can see that.
And of course, we have to be like set up appropriately for like a wide angle kind of thing. And hey, by the way, we all look better today. We don't look frumpy because dude.
I can almost guarantee you from the angle we're at right now, I look like a upside down baked potato.
I made sure I wore dark colors because
I was thinking of that, and then before I left, I'm like, oh, you should wear. I'm like, I already got the sweatshirt on. I can't. I got criticized.
Did you get harassed about that?
I got harassed. I got harassed because I'm Coach Matt. Why am I not repping my school's gear? Stop it. And I was like, I said, I just want it to be
depending on a safe.
That's not fair though.
I know.
That's not.
It wasn't too many. Like
you know what though? I appreciate the abuse.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah,
it's like if it's people that are
now you know what it's like.
Yes, yes. Now you know.
And I felt I looked because I had the I'm not going to give away my wardrobe secrets, but I had a button down under the jacket, right? So I had the jacket. It was just a Nike light jacket, and it's blue, by the way, right? Well, my school colors are no longer blue, so I heard that.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, like, why are you wearing blue? I'm like, it's just what I had on.
What they wanted you to go maroon.
This is great.
Yeah, they wanted maroon. They wanted the whole. And I'm like, it's not that I don't want to. It's just that I don't want to. I just want to keep it casual and clean.
No, but what's funny is like some of the stuff we were talking about is the fact that there's so much else that goes on. We get to roll in, we do the game, sign the book, we roll out, grab a shower, we're gone. These guys, they got to deal with all that other stuff, man. All the social media stuff, people bitching, emails. Hey, my kid's not getting enough playing time. Like
you got to total out your book. You got to send it to the different media outlets because. No reporters come to the games anymore.
Speak of that.
Unless you're sprinting
I want to know because that's interesting. That's really interesting.
I had to put that dig in there.
No. It's funny because it's like I didn't know that. You got to send stuff out to what, the local media?
Yeah. So and that's every game. Even if you're,
I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that.
Home team is responsible. It used to be everybody do it, but now
like the Mercury.
The league sends it. Yeah, you send it. We send it Mercury. I send it to Mercury, Eagle, City of Love Basketball, and one other social media outlet for basketball. I send it to 4 different places. Send them the box score, send them the totals, and you send it.
It's really funny you just said that. I mentioned that to you on text. Josh Ferlin from City of Love,
yeah.
Right? And that, was it Matt McHugh?
McHugh, yeah.
Yeah, he just now, I don't think he's there now. Like he moved on to something else. But there are 2 people that we want you guys to come on our show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because you guys have an extremely good perspective of what's going on, and like we've interacted with them they're wonderful.
Yeah, I talked really to him many times.
And he's been able to capture me from flattering angles while I've been up and down the court because it's hard to tuck the belly in.
I don't think maybe they got you at the Pack game.
No, he got me at Delco Christian.
They got you at that's right.
But you know what though?
Like giving the hammer.
I was mid action.
I think that was Josh. I think he was under the basket down the one
in the nook.
He was in that little nook.
That is a tight gym.
Yeah.
I was going to tell him to move because I didn't walk on him, but it worked.
He was nice because like most of the stuff he put out, it was very tastefully done. Bevilacqua looked good. Even like he actually got him transitioning from one end of the floor to the other. We love you, Michael. And you and I, we were like sausage wrapped appropriately kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
sausage cased.
Sausage casing.
Yeah. But
no diddy.
All right, but so going back.
Do you understand what that is?
Yeah.
The sausage casing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
You guys talking about that over at that the other place last
Oh yeah, under the
You got to peel off your layers.
When we had the distractions.
We were sitting in the smoking section.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the smokers came in, and that was great.
2024 smoking section in a food section of a restaurant. Felt like I was in 1974.
Welcome to Bonanza. Would you like to sit in the smoking or chain smoking side? Like there was no, like they thought like a 3x5.
He's like leaning in, doing his work.
I'm just trying to make sure they can pick my voice up. But no, it's like,
don't worry.
I remember going to those places like smoking or not smoking, but like when you were sitting on the edge of the like the wall was going to protect you from the second.
Like you're in the non-smoking and the smoking is right here. Like it makes a difference with no partition.
Listen, I'll give you a quick story. Very quick story. Back in the day.
Well, if this is very quick, you're going to impress Norm. You know the
whole,
yeah.
Are you feeling it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then we have to give him a shout out. So I had to make a call down in Dover, Delaware. Okay, and this was nothing sports related, sport related. So the night before, I had to stay over. I had to get a motel room, whatever. So where's there somewhere to go get something to eat? Oh, the Hollywood Diner, I think it was called. And so I went down the street, go to the Hollywood Diner, and this was a long time ago, so they were still smoking in this place. They had one table in the corner that had a sign on it that said no smoking section. I'm like, I've been kidding me. It was the best. And the best part is the fact that they're like, hey, if you're going to, because it was late, they're like, are you going to be here for a little while? I'm like, why? And they said, well, Black Elvis is going to come in. Black Elvis, what's that? He goes, no, this guy's he's a black guy that does Elvis. Like he sings and he has an entourage, the whole thing. I'm not making this up. This is down there. This is a Maryland, Delaware, like lower Delaware kind of a thing. Don't you know, 11:30, this Joker comes in and he's like moonwalking and singing and he has like 10 or 15 people with him. And I'm going, oh my God, this is the best. Black Elvis. Freaking awesome. Really nice people too. And of course, I've never been there and haven't been there since. And that night, when they came in, they're like, yeah, where are you from? And they just smoothed up to me. It was the best.
Nice.
But that was cool. But the no smoking section, like you said, one table in the corner, no smoking. It's like really.
That reminds me of remember the Great Outdoors movie?
Yeah,
when Dan Aykroyd says to Chevy Chase, we want to go see the female Elvis impersonator, and I want to see a 48-inch bust singing "Burn in Love." Back in the heyday of the impersonators, we've got a local ref that's a Elvis impersonator for a living. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I know his name, but I know
he's got the Bob.
Yeah.
So he's got the
he's got
mutton chops and everything.
He's got the hair already.
Yeah. And I was like, he looks a lot like Elvis, and I remember a fellow official was like, he is Elvis. That's his job.
That's his job.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Because everybody, like you said, when he comes in, I mean, that's his lifestyle. He comes in, you're like, whoa, it's Elvis, referee Elvis.
Yeah.
But now to know that that's what he actually does, he's
actually an Elvis.
Sense.
Yeah.
Not just like like a wild fan or something. That's
not to take a big old jump back, but back to the flopping. I wanted to ask you since we talked about this whole Sixers thing. So, who flops more, Embiid or LeBron James?
LeBron. LeFraud James, please.
Yeah. LeBron is a true drama flopper, in my opinion. Like his flop is for effect, right? I think sometimes Embiid does it because it's not even I think he's probably the best athletic, most uncoordinated person I've ever seen. Like he falls down for no reason.
That's a great statement because there was I don't say I'm a big sports bettor, but I like looking at interesting props, on bigger games. Like there was an over under
how many times
for a number of times he'd fall down in the game.
Absolutely.
Said it's 17.5. Think about that.
He falls down for no reason. It's like he would go for a layup and there'd be a guy on the floor and it's almost like he thinks he's going to trip over him. So he trips and falls. Like he doesn't even come near the guy, yet he tumbles and falls to the floor. He is on the floor more than anybody. But when you look at him, he's a phenomenal athlete.
Absolutely.
I think a big part of it, he's 7'2". Like his pins they're not good, and his knee's not good. But LeBron does it. I love watching the clips where he barely gets brushed, and he's grabbing his mouth, and he's on the side.
Don't even get me started.
Like those should be ejections. Like he should be ejected because I think it's just, and the fact that officials give him that call. Like if I was the guy on the other side, I would be ejected.
Oh my God,
I would get ejected.
So what was your thought about the quality of officiating for the Sixers series this past series?
I thought it was horrible in that game 2 up in New York. Horrible.
Game 1 was bad also.
And I think
and they admitted it.
Yes.
They actually admitted it.
I truly believe and you'll never know. That the league probably said something to that crew or whoever had those games for the remainder of the series. Not that like you got to make calls, but you got to do better because that was just so egregious in the amount of no calls that they should have. I'm not saying it was bad for the Sixers, good for the Knicks, or vice versa. It was just egregious across the board in Game 2.
Right.
I think that crew probably got a hand smack.
Is that how the Sixers ended up winning that one game?
No. So personally, here's where I'm going with it. Here's where I'm going with this. Is the fact that the NBA is touted as professional entertainment and the lax on the rules, like because the 0 step, like is it too hard to officiate that game with what they've required of the players? Because if you look at the games from the 80s and 90s, there was clear, obvious fouls or violations called at their merit.
Right.
Just travels.
But the amount of there were 4 travels that go in the first 3 minutes of I think game 1 or 2 of the Sixers Knicks series because it's just why stop the game? That's the mentality.
Yeah.
But when you get to those tighter games where those bodies flying all over the place, have you set a nasty precedent now where you don't know what to blow a whistle on? What do you think?
A little bit of that. I think that probably has some merit. I think part of it is too, again, just watching games, and I don't know the officials by name or whatnot, but I could see them like, okay, I've seen that guy. He had the Knicks game like last week, and you see him again, and now he's doing the Dallas Pacers game or something. I don't think they're consistent in their calls by the team. I think some of these officials, the way they make calls varies by opponent, i.e., if LeBron James is on the floor, if there's a star on the floor. I think some of these officials alter the call where that would be a travel if it was Mike Jones from Indiana, but oh no, that's LeBron James from the Lakers. Like I let that 7 steps go. Like I think there's some disparity in their consistency of calls.
How about Draymond Green?
He's another one. I mean, he should be allowed in the league. The officials shouldn't have to deal with Draymond. Draymond, in my opinion, is a league problem. The league is doing a disservice by not stepping in and helping the officials by putting him in check.
Well, you saw him like laying on the ground for like 2 minutes,
right? And
just laying there like he was injured. It's like, really?
The officials shouldn't have to deal with that at some point. At some point that's a team and a league issue that a guy like that needs to be dealt with. Back to the Sixers and the series officiating while they lost. I think the Sixers lost that series specifically on 2 things. Just hustle and determination. You got to give the Knicks all the credit in the world, especially the 3 Villanova guys. They played their ass off, I thought. Mm-hmm. I thought they did every little thing. They grinded. They played defense. Hart, that one game, had 17 rebounds. That alone should have sent bells, whistles, red flags, whatever off in the Sixers organization. How the hell does a guy who's 6'4", 6'3", I think he lies and says he's 6'4", how does he come out with 17 rebounds in a crucial game in the paint? They weren't like long rebounds. These were in the paint, in the real estate, getting rebounds, work over Embiid, over Reed, over, post people. So from that part, I think they lost. I think they lost because the Sixers don't have a true floor leader. Look at the end of the game, how haphazard it was. They don't have anybody that's taking control and has everybody settled down. You got Lowry on the line, who I saw when he shot the foul shot, clear as a bell, he goes, missed the second. Maxey, who's behind him, doesn't know. He makes the first. The second comes flying straight out. Brunson jumps right in front of Maxey and takes it. And Maxey's sitting there and then they had the timeout. And as he's walking back, Lowry looks at him and Maxey goes, I didn't know you were going to miss. How can that, that's a crucial point of the game. How is there not somebody communicating that across the board, professional or not? Like, you have to know the situation. And I don't think that the Sixers were very situational aware in any of those games in the series, and the Knicks were. I don't think Nurse did a terrible job out coaching, but Thibodeau, he had those guys prepared and he let them play.
I think Nick Nurse is an excellent official.
I think he does good. He does a good job.
He's a very good coach. Yeah. And Thibodeau's good too. I mean, he's very good at what he does. But you don't even want to get me started with whether it's because it's entertainment. Now, you don't think that the NBA wanted New York to win? They've been wanting New York to have a team for years.
Yeah, 100%.
What's it been 20 or 30?
It's like 22, I think they said, something like that.
I'm no longer going to give the stat because I've been called out too many times. So I'm going to just say, How long has it been? 20 years?
20, 22 years. Like
yeah.
since the Knicks have been since the Knicks have been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Since they've had a relevant game. I mean, again, I love the fact they mentioned him because he was one of my favorite players back in the day. I was like, kid, Bernard King.
I like Bernard. Yeah.
I love Bernard King.
Yeah.
If he didn't have that knee, he would be one of those greats, I think, that you talk about. But Brunson was a game 3, I think, in Philly. He passed him. Like Bernard had the all-time Knicks. And you think about that, too. Patrick Ewing, John Starks, all the players that they've had.
Yeah.
Bernard King had the playoff most points at 46 of any Knicks player, and Brunson passed it. I mean, I think, again.
Now, who was his brother? Albert King?
Albert King.
And we had him.
This is the part of the podcast where I realize I'm too young for all this conversation, so I just listen.
You remember how he hurt his knee? I think it was the first time. I don't think, or it was the second time. He was jogging in the park, and he hit like a divot or hole like or something and blew his knee. At least that's what he said. For all we know, back in the early 80s, he could have been, who knows?
That was like
he could have been coked up at Studio 54 and blew his knee on a stripper. I don't know.
Blew his knee on a stripper?
Blew something.
It's Christmas.
Maybe he blew something. Again, I don't.
Well, the flopping thing I brought up because I felt like, and with Embiid, like I feel like he makes that noise too.
Yeah.
Where like somebody steps on like a giant rubber chicken, lets the air out slowly.
He flops though? Like he doesn't flop.
I think he's just clumsy.
He just ends up on the ground.
He's clumsy. He's really clumsy. I love how it takes like 4 people to get him up too. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Like every time he's down.
Yeah.
You got little Maxey behind him, and the only thing Tobias Harris did good was pick up Embiid because he was a dead weight for that entire series. But I'm glad he's going to be gone. I'll drive him out of the city if they don't.
So would you, as a high school coach, though, you said something about consistency with crews.
Yeah.
Do you think the same crew on an entire series is beneficial to the game, or really, do you like to see the same official over and over again? Do you like to see a mix of officials?
I think I would rather see a mix of officials because they're human, right? So you can get into, again, I'll cross it over. You use Draymond Green. Say in game 1, Draymond Green is doing Draymond Green things and getting personal or saying stuff. Like you can't you want to be impartial, but you can't expect that official to not maybe keep an extra eye like a little second longer on things that maybe Draymond's doing. That goes across, I think, at any level. Officials are human. And if this guy has a tendency to be a certain way or do a certain play, I can't blame the official where he's scanning the thing and he may scan this way for, 3 quick seconds. But when he knows Draymond's in this picture, he's going to scan a little slower because 9 times out of 10, he's going to do something.
Right.
So they're human. So I think I'd rather see a rotation of officials. So it's a fresh look every game.
Right.
Because we know, I mean, we like even today I had to do that. I mean, we had kids that they were off the ball. Yeah. And like they're over here, the play's over here. They have nothing, but they're like smacking each other around, like that kind of thing. It's the kind of thing, and I know it's lacrosse, but still, it's the kind of thing where like I really need to be focused here, but these 2 knuckleheads are going at it over here, and all I can do is yell at them.
Yep.
Yo, I'm right here. Come on, guys, play ball. What are you doing? That kind of thing.
We one of the things, I mean, and I didn't invent this. I heard from, when I was an assistant way back when, it's always number 2. It's always the second person that gets caught. It's rarely ever the initiator who throws the first punch or the first push, or whatever it is. It's always the retaliator. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I always try to stress is no matter what they do to you, don't respond right there at that moment because 9 times out of 10, you're going to get caught. If I get the elbow on the rebound and as we're going up court, I try to give it back the elbow, they're going to see that one. Like wait till the next 2 times through and you're going to do it within the course of the game. Yeah, like I never teach anything that's, out of line or out of the playbook boundaries or whatever. But
I can hear my father, youth football.
Yeah.
Just kick him in the shin. Just kick. Referees don't look at the shins. Kick him in the shin.
No, I'm always like
knock him down.
Especially with football. Like, hey, if you can get yours back in the course of the next play with a legal block or whatever it is,
this is
you're going to put a little effort. You're going to put a little extra on it, but you're not going to do anything that's going to get you in trouble because 1, you're going to get us hurt. 2, you might get yourself ejected. But if taking that elbow in the chin down there for that rebound motivates you to box out a little more next time, so be it.
So
that's a good take on it.
So I got a question. So again, you don't have to give up any trade secrets or anything like that. But are you sure you don't teach your team to anything to gain an advantage? Like anything, like if somebody acts like pushes them around or that kind of stuff or any kind of motivation. little over here, a little push there, a little grab the shirt, like any of that kind of stuff. Do
Hey.
coaches do they teach that stuff? Because we run into that all the time. Now, mind you, you're on a different side of things than what we're used to.
Right.
But are you sure that you never do? And I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
But do you see it? Do you see other coaches that in your head you're thinking, this guy, he's doing it?
I think some coaches, they teach maybe to be a little more aggressive in certain things, certain ways. Like I can't speak for all of them. I mean, again, going back to for like stuff that we do. Again, it's not teaching it that it's outside the rules again, but maybe it's right on that doorstep.
It's right on the
maybe the next.
fringes.
So like for example, when the way again we teach when girls drive to the basket defensively, how we want to open and we get angles. I do want some hip contact. Like you're not supposed to have that contact, but if I can get my hip on you, and as an official, you're looking at my hands and you're looking at the person with the ball on the way up. If that person goes for the layup on the way up, and I'm inside of you with my hip, and my hip is guiding you, and the official isn't calling it. I mean, technically, we're teaching to push with the hip instead of the hand. The hand's going to get you a foul.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But the
I
hip,
don't mind. Listen, the lower body stuff.
that's right.
This is why I'm a terrible girls official, because I think the girls is waist down, where the guys is a more vertical game.
Correct.
And this is the stuff that gets me in trouble, because I always say I'm a terrible girls official.
And it depends on the team, because I've played against higher level teams that have a lot of like good athletes and very good players, and they're playing it at a much quicker rate. And I do think sometimes on the girls' side, if you're playing against a really good girls' team, they get away with a lot more because they're just that much better than you. That officials don't want to make that call necessarily, because it's a bad look. Because again, it's not illegal what the really good team or the really good girl just did. It's just more aggressive and faster than what you're used to seeing from a girls official standpoint or from a player standpoint,
Right. And
it looks very lopsided. So, but yeah, we teach the hip ride. We teach again, and I'll say it all the time. Like if we get to a game and officials aren't calling the hand check,
right,
and they're play with what the officials allow you to play with,
right.
Like, yeah, okay, if they're going to let you be more aggressive and be more physical and really box out and fight for rebound, go ahead and do it. But at that point where they say, okay, that's the foul, that's a foul, now the precedent's been set. Now you can set your game to how they're calling it. Nothing drives me crazier than officials who start the game and call a certain way, and then after halftime or by third quarter, now you're calling every little ticky-tack hand check and everything. You let it go for a whole half. You set the precedent of the game.
Yeah.
So now everyone's going to play that way because you've set the tone. Don't go and change it because it's fourth quarter, and now you want to call every little ticky-tack hand check.
Right.
And now we spend the next quarter and a half at the foul line, both teams, because you've allowed that all night. Now you're taking it away. I think that's bad for the sport. It's bad for the girls. And again, that's one of those things where it's, we're teaching it a certain way, and we're doing it the way you allowed it. Now you're changing the script.
Yeah, we need consistency, right?
Consistency.
Yeah.
You say?
Yeah.
All right, so we're pretty much to the end of.
Well, before we wrap up, our producer just walked in. Jeremy, did you have like a tuna hoagie? Something smells great out there. Like, oh, I'm so hungry right now. I don't know what the hell is. I caught a waft of something. I am so hungry right now.
Maybe it's the mic.
It's
the microphone.
The mic's getting you excited.
So we're doing a shout out to Sal's Bravo Pizza of Limerick, some of the best food in the area. Dr. David Roy of Personal Injury Chiropractic at Healing Energies Wellness Center in Royersford, and the Federal Injury Center at Healing Energies Wellness in Royersford. So, Ebo, you want to close the show since you have the big microphone?
Anyway.
Yeah, I called you out on it because you're just too intimate with it.
Well, as always, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you saw today, give us a like or a follow. And we always need topics to talk about. So if you could leave a comment in the section below, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching Referee Roulette.
Nasty.
Like us on social media, every one of you.